revolution.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me thank sincerely you for this award. I was thinking about how I started in activism when I was 13 here in Brooklyn. Jesse Jackson and Reverend William Jones made me youth director of Operation Breadbasket that was founded by Dr. King, and I became youth director the year he was killed. And I've been in it ever since. And it was to fight racism and fight inequality. Dr. King died organizing a poor people's campaign, and to really try to bring together people of all races that had suffered inequality from an economic order that was structured to be based on inequality, those at the bottom as opposed to those at the top. As I grew older and began to really get more and more in depth in that fight, I chose not to pastor a church. Reverend Jones, who pastored Bethany, tried his best to get me to do that. I said I wanted to be full-time activist, like Dr. King opted not to pastor. He co-pastored his father's church. Reverend Jackson never pastored. And they said to me that that would not give you the ability to make a living or feed your family. And when you're young, you don't think about those things. And I just believed that somehow, if you do what's right, that right will make a way for you. And it did work out. I'm not recommending it to, because the opposite of that is they're gonna call you a hustler and all kind of names. But one of the things that true activists must do is understand that if you are afraid of controversy, then you ought not to be an activist. And if you are looking for gratitude, you ought not be an activist. I remember I used to spend Christmas with my family every year with Reverend Jackson in Chicago, who mentored me and was older to me than Dr. King was to him, who mentored him. And he would lament about how he had gotten hostages out of foreign countries and done things, yet none of them ever called and wished him a Merry Christmas or sent a card. And as I had fought many years for many victims, very rarely do I get a birthday card and all. So when you get an award, you really treasure it, because it's about the only gratitude you're going to get. We get awards tonight, but by the end of the week, some tabloid will be calling us names for doing what is right. But the minute that that matters to you, then you're serving for the wrong reason. I tell people that I fight not because I studied the plight of others. I was and have come from what I'm fighting for. I grew up in a single-parent home in the Albany Projects here in Brooklyn. My sister was gay. All the things I talk about is what I lived. I'm not talking about something else that I empathize with. I'm talking about something that I lived and know how it feels to be a suspect rather than a prospect, and where your peers and contemporaries are not around to enjoy seeing you succeed. We don't have reunions because most of the folk I grew up with are dead or in jail. And I owe it to them, because I wasn't smarter than them or more gifted than them. I just happened to be the one that made it out. I owe it to them to fight to change the structural system that has us all playing Russian roulette on who would break out. We talk about who's going to break the cycle. The problem is not who breaks the cycle. The problem is the cycle. And until we change the cycle, until we stop acting like it's normal for some to have so much and others have so little, Until we start acting in a responsible way when we go to other nations and children are not well informed and well developed and well educated, we say what is wrong with this country. But when we do it here, we say what is wrong with the children. James McGregor Burns wrote a book called Leadership that I read when I was a student in Brooklyn College. He said there are two types of leaders. I got one Brooklyn College. We're a minority in this crowd, just so you know. He said there are two types of leaders. There are transactional leaders and there are transformative leaders. Transactional leaders transact business and trade. Transformative leaders change the business that you're in and the world and climate that you deal with. Dr. King put it this way. Dr. King said that there are those that are temperature leaders and those that are thermostat leaders. Thermostat leaders are different. Temperature leaders, thermometer leaders, they measure the heat or the coldness in the room. Thermostat leaders change the temperature in the room. And some of us need to be more thermostat and change the temperature. Turn up the heat on those that are too comfortable. So I, on behalf of National Action Network and those that have stood down through the years, we built ourselves now in 102 cities, to the old lady at the end of the march who never will be on TV and never have a name in the paper, but had enough faith in what we were doing to be there with us, knowing no one would ever call her name, and knowing that there were all kinds of questions raised about us. This is her award, because they're the real activists, the ones that never get credit, but come because they really believe. I'm proud tonight. My daughter's with me, Dominique. My general counsel and executive vice president, who's been like the only real brother I've had, Attorney Michael Hardy. And my companion, Aisha McShaw, who has had a share of newspaper coverage for why she would even be bothered with getting in all of this. I feel that it is our job to do what is necessary, because I will say this, life is really about what you achieve for more than yourself. I, many years ago, started being very selective when I was asked to do funerals, because I really got past the habit of getting up trying to fabricate eulogies for people who had wasted their lives. Think about it. Most people don't even deserve a funeral, because most people haven't done anything that anyone should talk about. Most people live their lives to achieve their own self-aggrandized dreams, get them a nice job so they can get a nice house and a nice car, and none of it will matter to anyone 2 minutes after they're gone. The only thing that will matter when you and I go, and all of us are going, is what we've done for more than ourselves. And we should live every day saying, if this is my last day, what meaning has my life had? What difference did I make? And if you're not satisfied with your own answer, you should commit yourself to doing something that would be worthwhile. I'm not a young 13-year-old anymore. I'm not 80, but I'm certainly not a young man. But I continue to fight, one in part because, yes, doctor, I am on TV, but when I get up in the morning and see the guy who demonized the Central Park Five is now the Republican nominee for president, it makes me know that I've got to keep fighting. When I looked at 7 months from now, we will experience something that we've never experienced in American history. We will see for the first time in the history of this nation a white succeed a black president. We do not know how that's going to feel, how that's going to look. We don't even know who it's going to be. But even the optics will change. And when the Obamas walk out the White House, what will walk out with them? And what have we been able to do with them there? That is the challenges of today, not in history, but right now, that we're living in a very polarized society, that some hold the people you research and serve in utter contempt for being in the conditions that they slated and structured them to be in. So Sheena, yes, I've known you all your life. And I've spent times with your mother over our diet chicken and waffles with the syrup that I no longer eat. But I'm still fighting because I have one goal left in life. I've achieved a lot of personal goals, but I say all the time, I have one goal left in life, and that is that every morning I get up, and I'm an early riser, that when I get out of bed in the morning, that every bigot, every oligarch, every racist says, damn, he's up again.